The top stories tonight in Y News. A policy analyst believes that many local government units might not be able to take on the devolved functions from the national government. The Department of Justice Secretary Crispin Boying Remulla urges former Bureau of Corrections Chief Gerald Bantag to face the allegations against him following the issuance of an arrest warrant by the Muntinlupa Regional Trial Court. Suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnulfo Teves Jr. seeks to the Senate inquiry on the Degamo slay case virtually. And President Volodymyr Zelensky calls on the world leaders to take action on a video of alleged beheading of a Ukrainian soldier. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, April 13, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am William Theo. First in the news, the order for the full devolution of powers or the transfer of key national government functions to the local government units is now under review by the Marcos government. According to an analyst, some LGUs are not yet ready for the said devolution. Nel Maribohok reports.
Michael Henry Yusinko, a policy analyst, believes that many local government units or LGUs might not be able to take on the devolved functions from the national government. Yusinko said some municipalities will probably have the capacity, but second to fifth class municipalities might not have the capacity yet to implement some of the devolved functions like health, education, and agricultural programs.
The reality is many LGUs are not able to deliver the public services that the local government has devolved to them.
Executive Order Number 138, signed by former President Rodrigo Duterte on June 1, 2021, orders the full devolution of the provision of basic services and facilities to LGUs before the end of 2024. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. earlier directed the review of functions that should be devolved to LGUs and that should remain with the national government. Yusinko said Malacanang should clearly identify first those municipalities or LGUs that are not ready for full devolution of powers.
Without making any effort to identify sino-sino nga ba itong mga LGUs na to na hindi pa handa, na kailangan pang tulungan. So yun muna ang kailangan gawin.
Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman said President Marcos instructed concerned agency to further study possible amendments on the EO as several LGUs remain either financially or technically unprepared to assume their devolved functions. The DBM chief chairs the Committee on Devolution, which monitors the implementation of the detailed transition plans of the LGUs. Nel Maribohok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, Tropical Depression Amang has weakened into a low-pressure area or LPA. It was located this afternoon in the vicinity of Infanta, Quezon. But the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Devices, or PAG-ASA, said that it will continue to bring scattered rain showers and thunderstorms over parts of Calabarzon, Central Luzon, Metro Manila, Mimaropa, and Camarines Norte. The LPA is expected to affect the country until tomorrow, April 13. Improving weather condition is expected to be experienced starting Saturday. The Muntinlupa Regional Trial Court has issued an arrest warrant against former Bureau of Corrections Chief Gerald Bantag and former Deputy Security Officer Ricardo Zulueta. The Department of Justice Secretary Crispin Boying Remulla said Bantag should face the allegations against it. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
Department of Justice Secretary Crispin Boying Remulla said if former Bureau of Corrections Chief Gerald Bantag is innocent, then he has nothing to hide.
It's better kung just face the music, and if you think you're innocent, then just come in and face the music. The judges will be able to know if the truth is there. Alam naman nila yung totoo tsaka hindi totoo.
An arrest warrant has been issued by the Muntinlupa Regional Trial Court against Bantag and former Deputy Secretary Officer Ricardo Zulueta. This is non-bailable since the two will be facing murder charges for their alleged involvement in the killing of June Villamor. Villamor was an inmate in the New Bilibid prison who was killed in October last year. He was identified by self-confessed gunman Joel Escorial as one of the alleged mastermind who hired individuals to kill broadcaster Percival Mabasa or Percy Lapid. Villamor was killed after Escorial identified him. Justice Secretary Remulla welcomed the issuance of the arrest warrant, saying that it is a part of due process.
That's due process. The wheels of justice are turning, so it's a welcome development. Hopefully we can arrest him or he will surrender.
Bantag and Zulueta also face murder charges for their alleged involvement in the killing of Lapid. The Las Piñas Regional Trial Court has yet to issue warrant on the said charges. Bantag's legal counsel has yet to comment on the issue, while Zulueta's lawyers said they have yet to receive a copy of the warrant. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for our news abroad, Brazil has announced changes in its tax policy aimed at leveling the playing field for local retailers and Asian e-commerce giants. Marvi Delphine tells us why.
Brazil's Revenue Service revealed it will no longer provide tax exemptions on international orders up to $50. The Revenue Service stated that legal entities and individuals' shipments are now both subjected to the existing 60% taxation on their value. This measure seeks to boost the local retail industry, following complaints about unfair competition from Asian giants like Sea Limited's Shopee and Shein, as well as Alibaba Group's AliExpress. The exemption previously did not apply to e-commerce and only for shipments between individuals, which the Revenue Service claims foreign companies are fraudulently using for sales purposes. Finance Minister Fernando Haddad highlighted that one or two global players were evading tax by disguising their e-commerce as person-to-person shipments. By targeting this practice, which Haddad calls smuggling, 7 to 8 billion reais can be generated as additional revenue to improve public accounts. Marvi Delphine, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Conflict in Myanmar rises with a recent air attack on resistance groups by military, leaves a village in ruins, killing over 100 people. Paul Gatchalian will give us the details live. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, Giona. Among the hundreds who were killed, most of them were supporters of the growing resistance in Myanmar, many pregnant women and children. The Special Advisory for Myanmar reports calling on for international action. According to Mr. Ko Nyi, Director of Advocacy and Aid in Kanbalu, the first bombing occurred at 7:45 a.m. local time, destroying the local office that was recently built, and then was followed by firing rounds from an helicopter on Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Most of the victims in the military's attack weren't members of the resistance group, but the villagers and supporters of the resistance against the military, Director Nyi stated. The attacks in Myanmar come at a time where the conflict continues to escalate due to the growing rebellion against the military, which aims to stop the resistance. The military has responded with a spokesperson, Zawid Tun, on live television acknowledging the death of civilians due to their strike on the resistance ammunition storage. Meanwhile, the spokesperson for the United Nations Secretary General, Stephane Dujarric, expressed his deepest condolences condemning the military junta's attack, calling for those affected to seek medical treatment and be given assistance. Back to you, Giona.
Thank you, Paul, for that live report. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, William.
Thank you, Giona. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. Suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnulfo Teves Jr. will be making a public appearance next week as he is set to appear virtually before a Senate inquiry on the Degamo slay case. Harleen Delgado will tell us why.
The Senate Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs will begin its inquiry on the assassination of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo on Monday, April 17. Senator Ronald De La Rosa, who chairs the Senate panel, confirms that suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnie Teves will attend virtually. Teves has been tagged by Justice Secretary Crispin Boying Remulla as the alleged mastermind in the killing. De La Rosa says he will ask his colleague why he doesn't want to return to the country, despite the government's assurance for his safety.
Well, expected natin yan since gusto niyang ma-hear yung side niya. Sasabihin talaga niya yung gusto niya sabihin. Andyan ako to moderate everything and I will control everything at hindi pwedeng madamit yung ating committee hearing para sa whatever grandstanding na plano ng anybody na inibitahan natin.
The slain governor's widow, Pamplona Mayor Janice Degamo, and the families of other victims in the Degamo assassination will personally attend the hearing. However, De La Rosa says Congressman Teves' brother, former Negros Oriental Governor Pride Henry Teves, declined their invitation. The senator adds several witnesses of previous killings in Negros Oriental will also testify in the hearing. De La Rosa expects the witnesses' testimonies will shed light on the killings that will help attain justice to the victims.
May mga ibang mga witnesses dyan na may alam pero takot magsumbong sa pulis or takot dumiritso kung kanino man pero confident sila na mag-testify sa Senate hearing. So that would be very good. We are expecting na ngayon lang sila tumapang to come out in the open. So we have to hear them.
Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
To fast-track efforts and set the targeted reforms for the education sector, the Department of Education, or DepEd, and the Second Congressional Commission on Education, or EDCOM-2, earlier discussed priority areas and issues to be resolved to address the education crisis in the country. Vice President and Education Secretary Sara Duterte welcomed EDCOM commissioners and the Advisory Council in pushing for a transformative, concrete, and targeted reforms to further improve the country's education system. EDCOM highlighted its priority areas, including early childhood care and development, basic education, governance and finance, and the teacher education and development. In line with this, DepEd also presented its plans and directions aligned with the Matata agenda to address issues in basic education, including the launch of National Education Portal, the conduct of the National Learning Camp, and other DepEd programs. DepEd and EDCOM-2 also sealed their data sharing agreement through a memorandum of agreement. Metro Manila Council President and San Juan City Mayor Francis Zamora announces that the launch of single ticketing system will be on May 2nd. Mayors in the National Capital Region and Land Transportation Office inked the agreement of database interconnectivity under the new policy. JP Nunez will tell us why.
The Metro Manila Council and the Land Transportation Office or LTO have signed today, April 13, the agreement for the interconnectivity of local government units databases to LTO's Land Transportation Management System or LTMS. With this single ticketing system in Metro Manila, which aims to harmonize fines and penalties among 20 common traffic violations in all Metro Manila LGU, will soon be implemented. It will also allow violators to pay their fines using digital payment method from handheld devices which traffic law enforcers will use during the apprehension.
Yung pong ating ipoprovide na handheld device, may option na magbayad right there and there through digital payment system, meaning e-wallet. Wala pong cash na ibibigay.
According to Metro Manila Council President and San Juan City Mayor Francis Zamora, they aim to launch the single ticketing system by May 2.
We are looking at May 2 as the launch date. No? Palipasin muna natin ang May 1 na holiday para pag simula natin ng May 2, dire-diretso na po ito.
However, it will not be fully implemented in all 17 LGUs in Metro Manila. Only 7 cities will pilot the new policy as they already have IT systems to interconnect with the LTO. This will be Manila, Quezon City, San Juan, Caloocan, Parañaque, Muntinlupa, and Valenzuela.
Simulan muna natin sa 7 lungsod upang makita rin natin ano yung mga bagay na dapat pang ayusin. Basically, this will be a pilot testing first. Para pagdating ho ng kabuuan na ng 17 LGUs ay maging seamless na po ang implementation natin.
Meanwhile, Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA Chairman Romando Artes said they have discussion of Department of the Interior and Local Government Secretary Benher Abalos Jr. to adopt single ticketing system nationwide.
Sa amin pong pag-uusap ni Secretary Abalos ng DILG, ilalatag din po itong single ticketing system. Ipupush po niya na hindi lamang po sa NCR ito mangyayari kung hindi sa buong Pilipinas.
JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
In other news, the country is now prepared for the lifting of COVID-19 public health emergency in the country, according to the Department of Health. Meanwhile, a health advocate said the country is still not ready for the lifting amid the existing healthcare problems. Bernadette Pinoy will tell us why.
The Department of Health announced the slight increase of COVID-19 cases in the country. But the agency clarified that the number of cases were not significant.
We are trying to better prepare our healthcare system. Nakikita naman natin that soon we will be able to lift this state of public health emergency. Pero kailangan lahat nakaayos na before we do that. And we are in constant coordination, of course, with the Interagency Task Force, yung pong mga iba't ibang ahensya.
According to infectious disease expert Dr. Ronjin Solante, patients infected with COVID-19 experience light symptoms like sore throat, cough, and fever. Solante also believed that COVID-19 health emergency should be lifted.
Pag i-lift ang health emergency, kasabay ang magiging ready pa rin ang health system natin. In a way, yung kaso natin stable, manageable, hindi na masyadong naka-disrupt ng mga life ng mga Filipinos. I think we are in a better situation now compared to previous years, and most likely we will be able to lift the public emergency na hindi na kailangan natin ng health emergency.
Meanwhile, health reform advocate Dr. Tony Leachon said the country is still experiencing problems in our healthcare system, and lifting the public health emergency will further cause difficulty for the healthcare workers.
Ang sabi naman ng Department of Health, sila ay tatalima doon sa PHAIC status kasi yung kahandaan natin hindi kasing bangis ng kahandaan ng Amerika. Ang una-una, wala pa tayong Secretary of Health. Yun ang una dun eh. Number 2, yung ating COVID exit plan hindi malinaw. At ang number 3, nung nag-order tayo ng bakuna, nagsipanis 50 million doses.
He added that passing the universal healthcare law should be prioritized to address healthcare problems in the country.
Since right now, tayo ay almost going into the endemic stage, dapat naman ma-implement na ang universal healthcare law and address the pressing problems on healthcare.
Bernadette Tinoy, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Protection and Indemnity or PNI insurance shares that the recorded number of applications for claim requests among oil spill affected residents in Oriental Mindoro are still low despite the claims caravans that they have been conducting. According to the claims processor, an average of less than 100 claimants have been submitting claim requests since yesterday, April 12. They assured that they will continue accepting claims forms within 6 months. Tomorrow, the claims caravan will transfer in another oil spill-affected municipality in Oriental Mindoro. Meanwhile, the Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, conducted a sediment analysis on the coasts affected by the oil spill, particularly in some barangays in the town of Pola, Oriental Mindoro. PCG marine science technicians have measured oil penetration in the sand and rock. They have continued conducting water sampling in the said areas to see how high the contamination of oil is in the seawater. Number of deaths caused by prostate cancer reached 3,000 as of 2021, according to the Department of Health. Meanwhile, Veterans Memorial Medical Center, or VMMC, introduced new technology for prostate cancer operations. Bernadette Tinoy will tell us why.
The Veterans Memorial Medical Center, or VMMC, has introduced to the public the enucleation laser technique for the fastest and finest way to operate prostate complications. With these innovations, patients will not undergo the transurethral resection of the prostate, or TURP, which covers the traditional method of operating against prostate complication.
Dati, kung matatandaan ninyo, 20 plus years ago, ang prostate na malaki o sinasabi nating prostata or enlarged prostate ay kinakayod lang kung nalalaman ninyo o inoopera. Ngayon, we have gone down to even doing laser technique.
According to Dr. Joseph Lee, the recovery after the operation using the laser technique will also fasten against the 1 to 2 weeks confinement of patients who undergo the traditional method.
Mabilis makakauwi ang pasyente, hindi kagaya dati na inooperahan mo, aabutin ka ng 1 linggo or even 2 linggo kung may komplikasyon.
Currently, the enucleation laser technique is available only to private hospitals, as the VMMC confirmed that this type of innovation embedded an expensive amount.
Yung aming karanasan, yung aming expertise, binibigay naman namin, may bayad o wala. Pero ang availability ng mga instruments, ability ng mga gamot na bago, if they cannot really afford it, yun ang problema.
It should be a joint effort by the government, but not only by the government, but also by the private sector in order to implement all of this procedure.
Complications of the prostate is one of the leading cause of death among men aged 45 and above. Department of Health Officer in charge Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere said there are 3,164 patients who died from prostate cancer in 2021. Vergere also advised the public to seek check-up from experts earlier to avoid prostate complications.
According to experts, the prostate cancer is the slowest growing cancer. So babalik pa rin po tayo dun sa early detection and prevention.
VMMC accepts patients with full privilege from the hospital to undergo enucleation laser technique and also accepts discounts from the patients. Bernadette Tinoy, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky calls on the world leaders to take action now on a war crime video circulating online showing Russian forces beheading a Ukrainian prisoner of war. Joselito Liquido will tell us why live. Yes, Joselito, go ahead.
Good evening, William. In a public address made by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, he described Russian forces who executed a Ukrainian captive as beasts and stated that the video is a video of Russia as it is, and it was not an accident.
Є те, що нікому у світі неможливо ігнорувати. Як легко ці звірі вбивають. Це відео страти українського полоненого. Світ повинен бачити. Це відео Росії, якою вона є.
The video widely circulating on social media showed 3 Russian-speaking men decapitating a man in green fatigue with a yellow armband, usually put on by Ukrainian fighters. Ukraine authorities have not released yet the identity of the said Ukrainian captive. On the other hand, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov continues to challenge the authenticity of the video and said Russia has never targeted civilians. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky firmly emphasized in the third ministerial roundtable discussion meeting held earlier with the World Bank Group and International Monetary Fund, or IMF, that the death brought by Russia must not become a usual routine and called on Russia's impunity to be stopped.
Yesterday, a video of the brutal murder of our soldier by the occupiers was shared by Russian sources. They are there in this video, are proud with their ability to kill. You have probably all seen it on the news, and you know that Russian army tries to make this level of violence and atrocities a routine everywhere on Ukrainian soil.
Of the Ukrainian soldier and all people who lost their lives from the war.
Please, would you please, I ask you now to honor with a minute of silence the memory of the Ukrainian soldier whose death the world saw yesterday, and the memory of all of our people whose lives were taken away by the Russian invasion. Please.
Ukraine Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba described Russia's action as worse than ISIS, and Russia must be kicked out of the United Nations. Back to you, William.
Yes, thank you, Joselito Liquido, reporting live from Malaysia. Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa says he is not bothered by the recent developments in the International Criminal Court, or ICC. This comes after ICC prosecutor Karim Khan rejected the arguments of the Philippine government in its appeal to suspend the probe on the illegal drug war of the Duterte administration.
Expected natin yun, and wala namang bago dyan. Alam naman natin talaga na hindi tayo pakinggan nila. So hindi rin natin sila pakinggan. Wala man akong dapat ikababahala dyan. Wala mang mangyari dyan.
The senator maintains he will not cooperate with the ICC probe as the Marcos administration disengaged with the tribunal. De la Rosa was the first Philippine National Police chief of former President Rodrigo Duterte's term when the so-called bloody drug war was launched. The local government unit or LGU of Lagayan Abra Province and the Lagayan Municipal Police Station turned over a total of 56 electro-fishing devices before the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BFAR, earlier today, the 13th of April 2023. This is a result of the intensified campaign of the LGU against illegal fishing, prompting fisher folks from Barangay Colyago, Lagyan to voluntarily surrender their electro-fishing apparatus. The turnover was led by Lagayan Municipal Agriculturist Rowena Martinez and Lagayan Municipal Police Station Police Corporal Benson Reforma before the Provincial Fishery Officer Janet Dagyo. Meanwhile, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, has made a partnership with the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples, or NCIP, to improve the lives and enhance the well-being of the indigenous cultural communities, indigenous people, or ICC's IP through social protection efforts. DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian has met on Wednesday, April 12, with NCIP Chairperson Allen Capuyan at the NCIP Central Office in Quezon City to create measures to improve the implementation of social protection programs for the indigenous people. Chairperson Capuyan discussed with Gatchalian on the future programs and projects, including the mandate of their agency and the current living situation of the ICC's IPs in the country. He also highlighted the operationalization of the 11 building blocks of resilient, responsive, and relevant ICC's IPs in ancestral domains and the improvement of indigenous political structure. Gatchalian has commended the group for its efforts and measures to attain the mentioned building blocks towards the boosting the capabilities and enriching the lives of ICs and IPs that is important for nation building. He also emphasized the need to focus on and prioritize the implementation of one building block to ensure significant impact and accomplishment in the medium term. Our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
And before we close, we will leave you with the word giving glory to God from the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 6. It says, having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, whether prophecy, let us prophesy according to the proportion of faith. And And those are the reasons behind the news, April 13, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.